Hello and welcome, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to dual boot Linux. So this is going to be when you're going to be able to have Linux installed and Windows installed, and then choose between the two when you start up your computer. So first thing that you want to do is you're going to want to go to Google and you're going to type in wubi, and this stands for Windows, Ubuntu, and then I forget what else it stands for. So pretty much you're gonna get here. I'll put a link to it in the description, and it's gonna tell you to do all these things, and you're gonna want to download it, and the link is going to be over here. It's gonna be right up here, and we're just gonna hit the download page, start download, and then it's gonna start in the bottom. Now once that starts up, you're gonna hit you're gonna run it. It will be in your downloads folder, or it's gonna show up when you run Chrome. So it's gonna run. You're gonna hit the little security thing that Windows has, and I already have it installed, so I'm gonna uninstall it and then I'm gonna reinstall it. And so let me just go to my downloads. Here we are. So what it's gonna give me a couple options. It's gonna give me which drive I want to install on. So I only have one, and that's so I can only install on that drive. You can install on a different drive if you want, if you have a separate one, or onto like a USB drive if you want to. The amount of space that it's gonna take up, it depends on how much space you have free. I have a lot of space free, so I'll do 30 gigabytes. Well, watch out. I'll do 30 gigabytes just so that I have plenty of space if I want to do anything there. And then there's a bunch of different other Ubuntus that you'll be able to use. The two big ones are Xubuntu and Ubuntu, just the regular one. I would generally just choose Ubuntu. I wouldn't choose just because generally if you have a somewhat decent computer, you'll be able to run Ubuntu and it's going to have everything that you want. You can research these more if you want. They all have somewhat like some different properties. Like I think Kubuntu functions more like Windows, and then Mythubuntu I haven't really heard of, in edu Ubuntu, which I'm assuming is, or ed, I don't know what some of these are, but I know that Ubuntu is a big one and Xubuntu is a big one. Xubuntu is meant for really not very powerful computers. So if you have like a netbook or something that you want to dual boot on, I would install Xubuntu, just because that's going to be able to perform better on a lower standard computer. But whatever computer you have, if it's pretty decent, if it's not super old, if it's super old, I would go Xubuntu too. But if it's relatively new, I would say like newer than 5 years old, I would just run Ubuntu, the regular Ubuntu. I wouldn't run Xubuntu, and then put your username and password. I'm not going to put a username and password. And then there's this one. You really don't need to change any of this in the accessibility. It doesn't matter. Your language you can set, your username and your password. You don't have to set anything. You can put a password, or you cannot put a password. You can set your username to be whatever you want. So going over everything again, the installation drive just here. I would choose 30 gigabytes if you have the space open, but if you obviously don't have enough space open, you can choose a bunch of different gigabytes to fit your need. It's going to tell you how much you have free here. So if you only have 100 gigabytes free, maybe take 10 gigabytes of that and use it for Ubuntu. And then coming back, your desktop environment, if you have a really bad computer, then run Xubuntu on it. If it's really old and really slow, run Xubuntu. If it's somewhat new, it can be slow too. But if it's a little bit newer, I would say newer than 5 or 4 years old, I would run just the regular Ubuntu on it. And then when you're done, you have all your settings clicked, just click install. You have to enter a password, so I'll enter a password. So once you enter your password, it's going to start installing. It's actually going to download the whole thing, and then it's going to install it. I don't think you guys need to sit through the whole thing, so I'm going to pause the video and then unpause it when it's done. Okay, we're back and it's done downloading. So once it's done downloading, it's going to ask you if you want to reboot now or reboot manually. And once you do that, you can select Ubuntu with your arrow keys. I can't record it. If I could, I would. And then once you select Ubuntu for the first time, it's going to finish some setup things, and then you'll be able to log in. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you liked the video, if you thought it was helpful, please subscribe. And thanks for watching, and come back next time.